Yeah, Joe to Nick here on knowing when to hold 'em. And what's in this game, Nick? You call the game, operating somewhere between, the global free trade system. Um, and to me, I look at that as the global corporatocracy. Okay, they control the trade industry, and then there's the money industry that operates with them. Okay, and about them, and they use the money system to make sure that the benefits of free trade flow to the people that control the money system. So it's kind of as you said. What's the problem that needs to be fixed? Who can fix it? And what are the factors that we're talking about here? Now, one of the factors that you talked about, Nick, was about the size of the stimulus, and I'm glad that you took it out and said, should it be 700 billion, should it be 2 trillion or 20 trillion? And how's the answer to that really to be derived? I think that in order for us to really grapple with that, to really grasp it, we have to understood what Napoleon meant when he made the statement that money knows no mother country. Okay, turn on CNBC today or Fox Business or any of them, even Bloomberg, and you're going to hear the pundits, the professionals, the guys in the three-piece suits, telling everybody that the place to put your money actually is not here. Okay, now you get what Napoleon meant. Money knows no mother country. They're advising us to take our money. Okay, don't put it to work to help our neighbors. Okay, our families, our friends, our communities. The states we live in, the people that we know. No, it's your money. It's your own personal money. It has nothing to do with a country. You don't want to do what's right for your country. You want to do what's right for you. And what's right for you is to offshore it and somebody doing something that's going to give you a better return. And by the way, that better return is always tied to risk. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. So uh, who's valuing the risk? So size of the stimulus, okay, A ought to be aimed at putting people back to work. It's whatever size it needs to put people back to work. And then B, and this is where my view of being somewhat nationalistic is that you need to make sure that it stays here. If we if we borrow $750 billion from banks that don't have it, or from people's savings, either one, okay, but we borrow it and we have to pay it back, and then we put it out into the financial system. The financial system takes it and invests in somebody else, some other country. Then what have we really done? And if you understand that little situation right there, then you understand, the priority use of the money supply. Okay? So the size of the stimulus should be whatever it takes to keep people working. Now, working at what? Doing what? Working for whom? What are we accomplishing? Is it all green jobs? Is it how much of the infrastructure needs to be replaced? You know, that's all a debate that we ought to be having. While we debate budgets. You know, but to have the money system working back for this country and for the people of this country, because we, the taxpayers, are responsible. That is the thing that needs to happen to provide some protection to us all. Okay, that Napoleon, identified the nature of the problem. Okay, that why did the bankers back both sides in a war? Because money knows no country. Okay, and until we, the people, get back in control of the dollar U.S. denominated money system in this country, We'll never be able to do any of the things that you talked about, which were very right on. Now, here's one of the things that has to happen. Actually, when you really when you really listen to the guys that really know what's going on, what they tell you is that right now, Nick, we're in a resettling of accounts. Okay, that's actually what's happening. In other words, there's too much debt. There's not enough money to pay all the debt service payments, not the debt service payments, because they were created with debt money, okay, and we have all the interest payments and debt service payments that are due on them. We don't have enough money, so because there's not enough, we can't create enough. People with a debt money system, we need to keep borrowing more in order to make those payments. Okay, that's not going to happen, so there's going to be a settling of accounts. Now, as long as we allow the money people to control the system, Nick, okay, we're not going to get the first major necessary echelon of settlement, and that is the total BS financial structured investment vehicles that have been created where there's trillions and trillions of dollars. I'm not sure exactly how many trillions, but I've heard estimates as high as 50, 60 trillion dollars of worthless bets placed between the banks, among the banks, all of which boost up their balance sheet and give them incredible power to create more money. That's been the nature of this uh, iteration of the contraction of the money supply. First the expansion and now the contraction. But during the expansion, we had a lengthy expansion phase. Um, Very recent publication from, I think it was the Chicago Fed research arm, in which they, excuse me, they came out to talk about one of the things that nobody's talked about, which is the cause of the financial crisis. And I'm reading from the, just from the abstract. The name of the paper was "Can too much of a good thing, spoil the pot? Too much right can make a wrong, setting the stage for the financial crisis." And remember, we're trying to decide on Bernanke. We're trying to fix the problems. We haven't decided on what set the stage and caused the financial crisis. But in here they identified basically these things. Okay, the number of factors that made the 2007 crisis more severe than the previous ones. Besides that lengthy buildup, the shift from financial intermediaries to the shadow banking system. The shadow banking system being the investment side, capital markets, well, you can call them that. They're actually defined in the paper. A, the shift of the money creation. B, the increasing interconnectedness among the financial firms. What is that? Cross counterparty risk taking. Okay, basically what they did. We heard too big to fail. Everybody's too big to fail. Why is everybody too big to fail? Because they're all cross counterpartied. Okay, and the fact that they're cross counterpartied is playing a huge part in what's happening right now, and why we have to keep everything up the way it is. And then the last factor that they identified, again, flaws in the financial system, the increased leverage at those financial firms. So what they're saying is that those things have come to play the major role. So in order for us to begin to start to solve the problem, Nick, what we need to do is we need to cut those excesses of what caused it. Then we can get back on a rational basis, a semi-rational basis with money. So we've got that huge haircut that the investment bankers, and I don't care if they're in holding companies, commercial banks now, they've done all this, ridiculous, unregulated jumping back and forth for protections. But those guys have to take that hit. Those guys have to take that hit. Now, what they're riding, Nick, is the mark-to-market regulation. That's what they're riding on. We need to restore mark-to-market, because that's how they got those things boosted up. Take their haircut. We're going to lose those 40 of those trillions